Welcome to Allied Services High School Hoops on MyTV WQMY, sponsored by Hazelton Honda.
Welcome inside Tunkhannock Area High School. Tonight, it's a Wyoming Valley Conference clash as Division I leader Crestwood battles Tunkhannock. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Ide, and welcome to Allied Services High School Hoops, presented by Hazelton Honda. Joining me tonight, he played, he coached, and he's current referee in the Lackawanna League, Mr. Billy Jones. And Billy, it's been a busy week for these two teams. Crestwood, this is their third game in a row. They've won two. And Tunkhannock, it's their third game. They've won two. They lost one, so I guess it's their fourth game for the week.
Correct, and it's been as highs and lows this week for Tunkhannock. Had a great win Saturday at Wilkes-Barre area, a historic win, and we'll talk about that later, up at Athens, and then they got a little bit of humble pie against Hazelton. It'll be interesting to see which team shows up tonight for the Tigers.
The Comets have a 1,000-point scorer in Ryan Petrosky. He got that last night, but when you talked to Coach Atherton, he wanted our Toyota Spotlight player to be Paul Fiesel.
Paul Fiesel is really an unsung hero with this Comets club. He plays inside, but he plays a lot bigger than what he is. He usually has to guard the other team's biggest player, giving up some height. He's also very skilled. He can step out and shoot, handle the ball, hit a game-winning three at Holy Redeemer earlier in the year to give the Comets a big win and get their season rolling.
Tunkhannock is paced by Ryan Harder, but our other Toyota Spotlight player, sophomore Ben Chilson, boy, he had himself quite a week.
Quite a week. 29 points on Saturday at Wilkes-Barre area for a 2-point win for the Tigers, and then they went up to Athens right after that. Sets a school record, scoring 50 points, knocking down a school record 12 three-pointers in the process.
That's unbelievable. So, again, you talked to both coaches. What are their keys to the game?
Keys for Crestwood is they want to handle the changing defenses that Tunkhannock's going to throw at them. Tunkhannock's going to throw everything but the kitchen sink. Some man, some zone, even a junk defense like a box and one. Coach Atherton wants his guys just to be patient, run good offense. Defensively, they want to make sure the big three of Tunkhannock, the Chilson brothers and Ryan Harder, do not have huge games. If one or more of them has a huge scoring game, the Comets could be going home with a loss. For Tunkhannock, they want to control the tempo. Crestwood's going to want to speed the game up because they're smaller and quicker. Tunkhannock wants to slow it down, utilize their height advantage, pound the ball inside. Defensively, Tunkhannock needs to guard the three-point shot. In the first meeting between the Comets and the Tigers, Crestwood drained 18 threes. The goal defensively for Tunkhannock is to crowd those shooters off the three-point line and force them to take long contested twos.
Well, Tunkhannock hasn't beaten Crestwood since 2013. Can the Tigers pull off the upset tonight over the Comets? The starting lineups and the opening tip are next.
You're watching Allied Services High School Hoops on MyTV WQMY, sponsored by Hazelton Honda.
Here are your starters, presented by Hazelton Honda. First for the Crestwood Comets at 7-1. Have a bunch of seniors up front. Jake Zaleski, Marcus Vini, Mike Zaleski, Paul Fiesel, and Ryan Petrosky are your starters for the Crestwood Comets. For Tunkhannock at 7-5, it will be Chris Tochak, Shane Mackel, Ryan Harder, Jack Chilson, and the sophomore Ben Chilson. Referees for tonight, John Sanunis, Kevin Keys, and Brian Dudick. And Billy, what should we look for in the beginning of this one, if we could tell which Tunkhannock team might show up, Jekyll or Hyde?
I think if Tunkhannock's engaged defensively, they'll be in this game. It's really going to be two contrasting styles. As we mentioned, Crestwood is going to want to play fast. Tunkhannock's going to want to slow the game down to utilize their size advantage. Tunkhannock, however, will be opportunistic and look to break if they can.
Ben Chilson wins the tap from Paul Fiesel, and we are underway here in Tunkhannock. Here come the Tigers. That's Shane Mackel, sophomore, with the ball.
And as expected, Crestwood opens up man-to-man.
Turnovers plagued this Tunkhannock team the other night, and poor shooting against Hazelton area. They lost that one huge. Let's see who's going to happen tonight.
Jack Chilson is off the mark inside. Comets push it. Petrosky downtown off the mark.
Yeah, that's never a good combination, Bob. Poor shooting percentage and turnovers.
Not going to win many games like that, as you know.
No, sir.
They lost to Hazleton 67-29, and that was coming off of 2 big wins.
And I think if you're Spencer Lunger, you want to take a mulligan, pun intended, being that he's a PGA golf pro with his 9-to-5 job.
Good patience on this one. Back into the corner for Chilson. That's Jack Chilson from downtown, his 6th of the year.
Great possession by the Tigers. They ran some clock and got a great shot in the process. Spencer Lunger's got to be happy about that. Tunkhannock showing zone here.
There is Mark Atherton, the longtime coach, 25th season with the Comets. His dad, of course, a very infamous coach in the Wyoming Valley. One of the best they have. Off Crestwood.
And Tunkhannock showing zone, as I mentioned. Tunkhannock, I think, is the perfect zone team. They're long, they're lanky, they're built to get deflections and turnovers with this group.
Well, you have a 6'5" and a 6'4" player up front.
Yeah, and Crestwood has those small guards. I mean, basically, it's like driving the ball into the forest.
Jack Chilson, who hit that 3, did not play in the first meeting. Big board for Crestwood. 3 missed shots and another offensive opportunity for this Comets team. Not the tallest, but boy, they're getting all the loose balls.
Tunkhannock has their smaller guys in the back end of the zone, and that's hurting them here a little bit.
Petrosky out to Vini, and finally Tunkhannock pulls it down with a 3-0 lead.
However, with that being said, Spencer Lunger talked about defending the 3, and there's no better way to defend the 3 than having your 3 tallest guys out on the perimeter, the Chilson brothers and Ryan Harder. I mean, if they're getting a hand up, they're contesting shots and altering shots.
Harder thought about it. Finds a little bit of a gap on the wing. Gets his own rebound. Second shot up and a third. No foul call. Good job by the Comets on defense. They give up just 37 points per game to the Comets. Petrosky inside, no good. Loose ball is going to be held to the Comets.
And Crestwood playing a lot bigger than what they are. They're very aggressive on the glass. They're used to being outsized, highly competitive bunch.
Crestwood coming off a 64-33 win last night to Berwick, and previous night had a scare against Wyoming Valley West. They won by just 10. So it's the 3rd game in a row for the Comets.
Yeah, this is quite the grind. And Bob, they bounce back. They're off tomorrow and then play a makeup game Sunday against Pittston area.
Long range shot by Jack Chilson. Crestwood wants to push it, use their speed. Good look inside the Petrosky. Foul call. He'll go to the line. Shooting 2.
Great cut by Ryan Petrosky, getting into the heart of that zone. Nice pass, and he's going to go to the free throw line to shoot 2 and get the Comets on the board here, hopefully.
Foul on Tochak, his first. So this is Petrosky to the line. Just a 55% shooter on the year. 16-30 now from the line. You know, and as a team, I was surprised, just 53% for Crestwood this year.
Yeah, that's kind of shocking with the amount of shooters they have. You would think, good 3-point shooting team, they'd be good from the free throw line. Not the case here, as he misses both.
So far, looks like the Tunkhannock team that beat Wilkes-Barre last Saturday.
If you're Tunkhannock, you have to be thrilled with the way you're playing defense right now, how you're guarding the 3, how you're getting back in transition.
Look for the mismatch, right? Billy, what's the mismatch that Tunkhannock can take advantage of?
I think pretty much if you can get, Jack Chilson in the post, maybe go high-low. I mean, any of these guards, like Harder's technically a guard, but he could post a smaller guard. There's about 2 or 3 mismatches that you can really exploit on the floor right now.
Tigers averaging 55 points per game on the offense, giving up 54. Good look inside to Ben Chilson, saves it. Working around Ryan Harder, no good. They will take a lot of 3s, will Tunkhannock.
They say you live by the 3, you die by the 3. If they're on, though, they're on.
Speaking of three, how about a big one? Jake Zaleski from downtown. 16th three on the year.
He caught that in rhythm, and that was a no-brainer. Nothing but net. Great find.
Second leading scorer on this team.
And at some point, I think you might expect Crestwood here to trap both in the full court and the half court. They like the double ball screens and dribble handoffs.
That's Mako from downtown. He connects. His 12th three on the year and a quick shot. Nice rebound by Fiesel.
And we talked about him in the open. Plays a lot bigger than what he is. He's aggressive on the offensive glass, but he can step out, knock down the three. Just a very complete player.
This Crestwood team's been playing together since youth basketball, and that's going to be a charge. Going back the other way, and we'll take a timeout on the floor. They give it to us. 6-5 the lead, 3:08 remaining here in Tunkhannock.
And here's a look at our marquee matchup for the evening. Jacob Zaleski for the Crestwood Comets has the task of guarding Ryan Harder. Harder, a 4-year contributor to this Tigers club. Zaleski, as you saw before our media timeout, Bob, stepping in, giving up his body, taking a charge.
So good start by both teams. Crestwood doing a great job on the offensive boards against this taller Tiger team. Very patient will they be, working around, and a big board for Zaleski. They're getting out rebounded our Tunkhannock, and they're getting opportunities.
Now the zone with Tunkhannock, as I mentioned, great to have your big guys at the top of the zone contesting those three-point shots from Crestwood. However, your smaller guys are on the back end of the zone, and they're getting hurt right now on the defensive glass.
Petrosky on the charge. Doesn't like the call, neither does Coach Atherton.
Yeah, Jack Chilson stepping in, drawing the contact, giving up his body, going the other way. Tunkhannock basketball.
1 point lead for Tunkhannock.
If Petrosky jump stops there, he avoids a player control foul. Got to be a little bit more under control, especially for a senior.
Both teams going like 6 or 7 deep. That's about it. Won't see a lot of subs. Turnover by Tochak. Zaleski right down the lane, uncontested for Jake Zaleski.
And that's Crestwood basketball at its best. In transition, taking easy opportunities.
Comets' first lead of the night.
Crestwood getting that helter-skelter pace that they want. They want this game to go up and down.
Nice job by Ruggieri, who's into the game, a senior, number 10.
And they're looking to create havoc, get some turnovers, get some easy baskets going down the other end. 2 straight transition hoops for the Comets.
I got a hold out front. I think this goes against Ruggieri, who's into the lineup. And now a sub in for Tunkhannock is Josh Brown, a 5'8" sophomore.
Good hustle there by Crestwood. Getting a loose ball. It's a 50-50 ball up for grabs. Leads to an easy 2 for the Comets.
Who are the ball handlers for Tunkhannock?
I think Harder and Mako handle the majority of the ball handling responsibilities. They have to be strong with the ball. Crestwood has established that they're just going to be pests defensively all night tonight.
Nice job by Petrosky using his body for his first field goal.
If you're Tunkhannock here, obviously you don't want to turn the ball over, but even on a missed shot by Tunkhannock, you want to make sure you have good floor balance, get back in transition.
Good run by Crestwood, and it's broken up by Ben Chilson from downtown.
And the Tigers needed that one.
They cut it to 2 after the run from the Comets.
And as we know about Ben Chilson, incredibly streaky. He hits his first couple shots. It could be a long night for Crestwood.
Yeah, that's 87th attempt for 3-pointers this year. He made 35. That's in 12 games.
Comets here playing for the last shot of the period. kind of rare to see them take the air out of the ball with the way they played here in the first quarter.
We'll get into the offense. Jake Zaleski, top pop. It's going to be short. Nice job underneath by his brother Mike Zaleski, who lays it up and in. So Crestwood was down 5-3, but they've come back to take a 4-point lead after the first quarter here in Tunkhannock. Little jungle fever here in Tunkhannock, home of the Tigers. Their team trying to put the squeeze on the Comets here. They trail by 4 in this one, but the story of the first quarter, Billy, to me, is the offensive boards that Crestwood are getting in their second chance opportunities.
Yeah, that's probably the number one thing you're addressing if you're Spencer Lunger. I like the approach with the zone. However, when you play zone defense, there's no assigned blocking out responsibilities, which, you know, could lead to some confusion, some chaos. Also, too, like I mentioned, Tunkhannock has their bigger guys playing on the top of the zone with their smaller guards on the back. The smaller guards need to do a better job blocking out. The other thing, too, Tunkhannock maybe wants to address or has addressed in between periods is to get back in transition. The Comets got their share of baskets off of turnovers.
So Harder and Zaleski are our marquee matchup at the top of the half court. And they get it into Ben Chilson, looking for that mismatch.
Very methodical offense here by Tunkhannock. As we mentioned, they want to control the pace, take advantage of their size inside.
Turnovers, again, plagued them the other night. They're doing a nice job so far with the non-turnovers. It's their defensive boards that's hurting them so far.
They had a nice look in there for Jack Chilson. He had Fiesel posted up. Didn't get the ball to him, however.
Good man-to-man from Crestwood. That's their forte. Big shot way downtown for Harder. Jack Chilson gets the board, he gets fouled, and he'll go to the line.
Yeah, Chilson rewarded for getting after it on the offensive glass. Tunkhannock shoots a lot of threes. With threes, if they're misses, a lot of times they lead to long rebounds. You have to be careful on the type of three you take. If you take a contested three, that might lead to a long rebound, which might lead for a transition basket for Crestwood.
Now, Chilson was out because of a football injury, and he just came back last week, so he's really getting into basketball shape and getting the feel. So once they get him back, you figure they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, Tunkhannock, if you draw them in the 5A playoffs, that is a tough draw, especially if you have to come up here to the jungle to face them on the road. And we'll talk about the potential bracket for District 2 5A playoffs. It's going to be a tough tournament.
Fiesel with his first 3. He has 5. His 18th 3 on the season.
Fiesel does a little bit of everything and does it well.
So the Comets now with a 6-point lead taken away by Vini. He'll push the pace. Good defense by Harder. Here comes Tunkhannock back the other way. They don't have the numbers. Chilson in. It's going to be a blocking call.
Yeah, Johnson Nunes emphatically calls the block. Zaleski looking to take his second charge. He's not afraid to give up his body. They're going to say he was not in the act of shooting, so it'll be Tunkhannock basketball on the baseline.
Well, these two teams met just a few weeks ago. A big win by Crestwood. You see the score right there again, but Jack Chilson didn't play in that game.
Yeah, and I think since then, Tunkhannock has gotten a lot of momentum, especially after they got that win last Saturday down in Wilkes-Barre area.
Vini again going to push it. Gets it out to Petrosky. Thought about a real long shot. Nope, they'll give it off for a long shot from Zaleski, or Fiesel, excuse me.
And that was Jake Zaleski's second personal when he was called for that block. So interesting to see if he'll sit on the bench for the remainder of the period. We'll see how Mark Atherton plays it.
Vini, good defense on the cut. Oh, but Harder used those long arms to take it back. Pop shot, that's off the mark. I could see it from my angle. Ben Chilson the rebound.
I think if you're Tunkhannock, I think you want to maybe pound the ball inside. A couple possessions here. Take advantage of that size that you have.
Jack Chilson. He's feeling it tonight. He said, all the attention's on my brother. I want it back.
And he may be back in basketball shape. You just talked about him, starting off the season injured due to a football injury. Yep. He's back, and he looked in midseason form, knocking down that three.
He has 2 threes and a free throw, so he leads the team with 7. Back to a 3-point lead.
Spencer Lunger making an adjustment, putting one of the bigs down at the bottom of the zone. Hopefully that might cure their rebounding woes here in the first half.
Well, great job by the Comets to try and find Petrosky underneath. So Ryan has 4. Jack Chilson. Ben gave up the shot to his brother, and it's taken away by Jack. Harder gonna force the pace. Good defense by Petrosky. Good look into Brown, no good. Second chance, no good again.
Brown's got to finish that. That was a great look at the rim.
Vini gives it up. And Ruggieri and Mako get tied up, and it will go over to Crestwood. 4:04 remaining in the second quarter. Good pace to this game.
Bob, watch Petrosky possibly coming back in and getting a wide open shot, and possibly see them screening for him after he inbounds the ball. Tigers sticking with that zone.
Kuzma into the game for Tunkhannock.
Kuzma's a pest defensively. For their win on Saturday at Wilkes-Barre Area, he guarded Wilkes-Barre Area's best player in a box-and-one defense. Did a great job on Cole Walker from the Wolfpack.
And it's going to be an offensive foul. We'll take a timeout. 3:35 remaining in this one. And we'll get our timeout. 5-point lead for Crestwood. We are back inside the jungle here at Tunkhannock Area High School. Bob-eyed Billy Jones, courtside here in a very unusual gym, Billy, that you pointed out. They have bleachers behind the baskets, not very high rows along the side. A little bit different, but definitely a high school feeling gym.
Yeah, it's a unique layout, but it's one of those where there's not a bad seat in the gym, and you're literally right on top of the court no matter what section of bleachers you're sitting in.
Well, the cheerleaders are here, just about 8 of them, parents from Tunkhannock behind the basket. So nice little crowd here at the high school on a night that's not snowing, so we're happy for that.
Tigers making some adjustments now, putting Ben Chilson and Ryan Harder on the back end of that zone, and like I said, hopefully that will clear up the rebounding issues that they had early here in the first half.
So it's a walk call on Petrosky. Ball going over to Tunkhannock.
And here's Crestwood showing their full court pressure for the first time tonight. Look for them to possibly send a second defender at the ball and look to trap. If you're Tunkhannock, you want to keep the ball in the middle of the floor, away from the sidelines and away from the division line.
Kuzma back out to Jack Chilson. Don't really post anybody up inside.
They don't, and you would think they would exploit the mismatch a little bit more. We'll see. That might be an adjustment the Tigers make.
Just like that. There's Jack Chilson, little baby hook.
They must have heard you, Bob. They had Jack Chilson posting up Fiesel, little hook shot. Some old school basketball. Thing of beauty.
Ryan Harder, 1-on-3. Kind of got tripped up and threw it up. Limpin coming back. He looks all right. So here comes the Comets. Vini. Tough pass inside to Zaleski. He finds Jerry, who missed the shot.
Boy, Crestwood really shares the basketball. Like, they make the extra pass. They give up a good shot for a great shot. And that's usually a sign of a team that's, has a heavy senior lineup.
Ben Chilson is, as you said, a little streaky. Didn't have a good night against Hazleton after scoring 50 points this week, and really is not finding the rhythm tonight as well.
In and out for Petrosky. I thought he had the rhythm there. That was halfway down, came out.
So a chance for Tunkhannock to tie it. They had the early lead, 3-0.
Little floater.
Yeah. Mako turned around, expected a defender, and found nobody. He said, I'll put it back up. So it is a 1-point lead now.
So we saw Jack Chilson with the hook shot, and then we see a little floater next time down.
Fiesel, good board to Petrosky, little floater from him.
Petrosky's such a solid basketball player. Can shoot the three, but if you crowd him off the line, has that great mid-range game. These senior guards for Crestwood are just so fundamentally sound. A pleasure to watch.
Harder out top on Mike Zaleski, gives it up.
Harder's got to be careful with that arm. He almost extended it, and it was almost a player control foul going the other way.
Oh, Jack Chilson almost had it. Mako with a big offensive board, and we have a whistle and a block. So a lot going on that one. Bodies on the floor. And what was some free throws under a minute to play here in the second quarter.
The Tigers starting to utilize their size here. Off an offensive rebound, Ben Chilson. You could say he was out of control, but he's going to the free throw line, shooting 2.
76% on the year.
Tunkhannock really starting to utilize their size, though. They're getting after it on the offensive glass. We saw the possession not too long ago where the ball went into Jack Chilson. He hit the hook shot, and here's brother Ben going to the free throw line after an offensive rebound by the Tigers.
So within 1 now. Closest is Benson, 6-5. Marcus Vini using the bank.
Some late night banking here in the borough of Tunkhannock. I think if you're Tunkhannock, you can live giving up that shot. He's one of the guys, if they're going to beat you by shooting the three.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want the Zaleskis or Petrosky to beat you. You can live with Vini making
Yeah.
shots.
I mean, it's only his 5th on the season for Vini.
Tunkhannock, we'll see here if they play for the final shot.
Ben Chilson to Ryan Harder. Trying to get something inside or under 10.
Great five.
Kuzma blocked by Zaleski. Good defense on the inside. Well, that was Nick Ruggieri. Great defense by the senior. That's how the half is going to end here in Tunkhannock. The Comets over the Tigers. Toyota halftime reports on the way. We'll hear from our friends from Allied Services. Billy and I will be back with stats and highlights, and we'll check in on the District 2 standing. That's all coming up here on MyTV.
You're watching Allied Services High School Hoops on MyTV WQMY. Sponsored by Hazleton Honda.
I am joined by Erin Pilch. She is the Assistant Director of Nursing for Allied's Inpatient Rehab. Erin, thank you for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
So, Erin, can you explain to us how important nurses are at a place like Allied Services?
Oh, nurses are key for 24/7 care of the patient, from medication passes to treatments, to make sure that the patient benefits from the therapy that they're needed to receive.
So if somebody has a healthcare background, how could they get a job at Allied, and how would you guys prepare them for that?
Anybody thinking about getting into the medical profession can come in to be a nurse's aide, start off right at the basics. That is, they can get a feel for what it is to be in the medical profession. They can see a lot that goes on, and also nurses, LPNs, RNs. We are looking for anybody in the medical profession that's interested and wants to keep and be an intricate part of the medical profession. There's a lot of experience to be had.
So coronavirus has, caused a lot of changes for a lot of jobs. What have you guys done to kind of get over those hurdles?
From day one, Allied has been very key in making sure the patients and the employees are safe. Everything, masks, face shields, gowns, gloves, we have everything to keep the patient and the employees safe. We started from day one also when it was mandated to do the screening coming into the facility and leaving the facility. So we are prepared.
Well, Erin, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the work that you do for Allied Services.
Thank you.
We're back in the jungle. The Comets leading the Tigers 23-19. Bob Ide and Mr. Billy Jones on the other side of the glass, enjoying a great Wyoming Valley Conference Division I game. And we talked about Tunkhannock coming in. Billy, what team would show up? I'd say right now they're playing pretty good. This is the type of team we saw against Wilkes-Barre. Crestwood, third game in a row. Haven't seen the effects yet, but, you know, we don't know what could happen in the second half.
I think if you're Tunkhannock, if you're Spencer Lunger in the locker room, I really think you have to be super positive, super happy. You play the first half to get to the second half. I mean, it's a 4-point game here at halftime. They made some adjustments in the zone where they took 2 of their bigs from the top of the zone, put them in the back of the zone. That really cleared up the rebounding issues that they had earlier in the first half. I think if you're Tunkhannock, you want to pound the ball inside a little bit more. If you're going to shoot threes, let them be inside-out threes. If the ball goes inside of the post and you kick it out to a shooter, it's a better high-percentage three than a three from the point to the wing, on a point-to-wing pass.
Well, we talked about Ben Chilson before the game, but his brother Jack is the leading scorer. He has 9, including 2 threes. And the other day when I talked to Ryan Harder, he talked about getting the ball to the hot person, and right now that's Jack Chilson.
And they are finding him. He's knocked down some threes, had that old school move where he caught the ball low, had the nice little jump hook. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see maybe who takes over here for Tunkhannock, if Jack Chilson continues to be the hot hand. Of course, if Ben maybe hits his first couple shots here in the second half, that could really get him on a roll. And as we talked about, super streaky. He had a 50-point game earlier in the week this week up at Athens.
Crestwood, they played 6 players. All 6 have scored, so balanced scoring from the Comets. Let's take a look now at some first half highlights. Again, Jack Chilson with the long ball.
Yeah, he's inside, outside, incredibly versatile, just like his brother, knocking down the 3. Jake Zaleski returns the favor.
Working around, and another 3.
Yeah. Great quick
expected.
ball reversal there by the Tigers.
To Mako.
And Crestwood basketball at its best. They want to turn you over, get easy transition hoops. If you're Tunkhannock this half coming up, you want to limit those turnovers.
Yeah, Ben Chilson, one of his 3s in the first half. And once again, Jake Zaleski's playing really nice. Offensive boards were really the key for Crestwood in that first half. They got a lot of them.
They play a lot bigger than what they are, and I really think Spencer Lunger, though, made a great adjustment by taking 2 of the bigs from the top of the zone and putting them at the bottom. I think that really cleared up the issues. And then again, Jack Chilson knocking down another 3.
And they get it back to Marcus Vini, hits it 3. So at the half, off the bank shot, it is the Comets by 4. When Billy and I come back, we'll check out some District 2 standings before the playoffs get underway. Both teams back on the court, ready to battle in the second half on the way. So district playoffs, Billy, are going to be coming up at the end of the month, but there's a lot of basketball between now and then. As we know, 3 games for this week for Crestwood, 4 for Tunkhannock. Next week the same. Let's take a look at some standings, especially in this 5A bracket, which is very competitive.
I spoke of Mark Atherton earlier this week. The 6 classifications in PIAA District 2, this by far, Mark Atherton agrees with me, this is going to be the most competitive tournament out of the 6. Abington suffered their first loss of the year last night at home to Scranton. Crestwood undefeated right now in Wyoming Valley Conference play. They dropped their opener to Dallas and have won 7 straight. North Pocono, I think, is the sleeper out of this group. Lost to Abington just a week ago, but I think North Pocono, they have great guard play. They have great shooters. Anytime you have great guard play and you have a hot night shooting, you can beat anybody in a one-and-done tournament.
So the Tigers get the ball to begin this second half. Tochak back into the game, number 5 for Tunkhannock out front.
I'm anxious to see if Crestwood really turns up the pressure and starts to trap. They were really reluctant to do it in the first half, in fear, I think, of leaving some shooters wide open. And that was Harder scored inside, Bob.
Yeah, Ryan Harder, that's his first field goal of the night, believe it or not. Good look inside, and they work it around to Jake Zaleski hanging out underneath the basket.
Petrosky shared the sugar with his teammate. A great sign with this Crestwood club. Very senior laden, great chemistry together. These guys have been playing basketball since Biddy Ball in the mountaintop area.
Mike Zaleski pushing it over to Vini. In the corner, no good. Harder up to Mako. Good D. Ben Chilson with a spin around.
Great find by Macco, great rim run by Chilson, and pace probably a little bit quicker than what Tunkhannock would like, but hey, if you can get easy baskets like that, why not?
It goes over to Crestwood. The pace picking up right in the beginning, just a minute into this game.
Tigers sticking with that zone, and like I said, they dropped the two bigs to the bottom of the zone to help out with rebounding. And it's worked well. Crestwood is not getting an offensive rebound yet this second half.
So Ryan Harder going against Mike Zaleski, and you can just see the size advantage.
Great man-to-man defense, talking, trademarks of a Mark Atherton coach team.
Well, Ben Chilson misses, and Brother Jake's right there for the garbage.
Spencer Lunger, I don't think, could have scripted a better start to the second half for this club. Getting a transition hoop, an easy basket off an offensive rebound, and we got a tie game here in Tunkhannock.
Last time we were tied, it was 3-3 in the first quarter. Crestwood 7-1, leading this division. They're only playing Division I games this year. Tunkhannock's going out and playing anybody they can find. Long range. Well, the bank is open on that side. And a timeout call by Mark Atherton.
Yeah, great start to the second half here for Tunkhannock. We'll see how Crestwood responds coming out of this timeout.
Well, that's a pretty good response right here. How about this?
A little late night banking from Mr. Harder. Off the window.
I don't know what you call that, Jerry McNamara range. That's what we used to call it back in the day, right?
They call it logo range. There's no logo on the court.
So here's what Tunkhannock has done this year. They've gone out and played 12 games and have a 7-5 record overall. The other night, of course, losing to Hazleton. Big win with Wilkes-Barre. They lost to them early on in the year. And a loss to Riverside. You know, they're pretty good. We saw them beat Holy Cross the other evening.
That Hazleton area loss, really a head scratcher. There's, in my opinion, there's no way Hazleton's 38 points better than this Tunkhannock team. This Tunkhannock team has come to play tonight. Crestwood, the favorite going into Division I play to win the league this year. They won it last year through a 4-game playoff. They have the division champs here on the ropes.
They do. It's a 9-2 run to open the third quarter here in Tunkhannock. So whatever Spencer Lunger said at halftime, it's definitely sunk in to this Tunkhannock team.
I'm anxious to see if eventually Crestwood, they try a little running and jumping, some trapping, both full court and half court. They've done that this past week in the games that I've watched. However, I think they're a little reluctant to do it against Tunkhannock, just in case if they throw the ball out of the trap and find one of those open shooters like the Chilsons or Ryan Harder.
It's going to be tough to get a shot outside over those long arms.
Yeah.
You're going to have to really be outside the three-point arc.
There's not many teams in District 2
Like
that
that.
have a guy like Jack Chilson at the top of a zone to contest shots.
Great job by Mike Zaleski. He gets the rebound, says, I'm open, I'll shoot it, and we're tied.
And here comes a little run and jump, throwing a second defender at Harder as he's bringing the ball up half court.
Tochak cut off. And it goes over as Jack Chilson hit the rim.
Yeah, that previous play, that run and jump, that trapping defense, Crestwood set a second defender right at Ryan Harder as he's bringing the ball up over the timeline. Even if you get a trap and don't turn Tunkhannock over, you're speeding them up and forcing them to play your pace if you're Crestwood.
Beanie looking for an opening, can't find it, back out to Petrosky. He'll go long range, but a big board by Zaleski. Vini in the corner to Mike Zaleski. Vini again, 2 and 5, just gonna play a little catch.
They're looking to get in the gaps in that seam of that zone. Nice driving kick.
What, 3 passes and get a three-pointer.
Great drive by Vaney, drove it into the gut of the zone, got the defense to shrink, and kicked it out for a wide open 3.
9 for Mike Zaleski. 8 threes on the year, has 2 tonight. Jack Chilson.
I think he's back in basketball shape, Bob.
Yeah, I think he's doing pretty well. He's in double digits now.
And if you're Spencer Lunger, you got to be thrilled with what you're getting from him offensively. If there's any cobwebs, they're gone.
Oh, a quick jump ball. We'll take a timeout. 3:55. And we got ourselves a great game here in Tunkhannock. Let's see if they give us the...
And a great find there by Vaney. Got into the heart of the zone, drove the ball and kicked it.
Well, we're going to stay right here, guys. Sorry, they didn't give us the timeout. When they do, we will take the break. I did everything but go on the court.
And if you're Crestwood here, you're going to do what you did last possession. Get into the gaps, the seams of the zone, get that defense to shrink, and kick out and find an open shooter.
So a 1-point lead for the Comets.
Very patient possession here by Crestwood. Again, Mark Atherton coach teams. They're not going to beat themselves. Very cerebral, very patient. They're not going to get a basket in transition. They're going to run good offense in the half court.
Fiesel off the mark. But Petrosky just takes it right away.
Great find.
And a great find, you mentioned that, to Fiesel on the cut.
That's the chemistry with these seniors. They've been playing ball since Biddy.
3-0 run. And we'll go out of bounds.
Well, we got an offensive foul on Harder, pushing off.
So we will get the TV timeout. 2:54 remaining. 3-point lead for Crestwood. We'll be right back. Say hello to the Tunkhannock cheerleaders doing their social distancing and trying to get their Tunkhannock team back into this one. They trail by 3 after we were tied at 28, Billy. Little run now for Crestwood, and how have they done it?
They've done it by getting into the gaps of the zone, getting the defense to shrink, kicking out for threes, and they also hurt Tunkhannock early here in this second half, once again on offensive rebounds.
Crestwood is not a big team, but they play big.
Tunkhannock really should have aggressively trapped that in the corner. They had a great opportunity, 2 guys with some length that really could have forced the turnover.
Mike Zaleski in front of the rim. Oh, right in the hands of Jing, no foul call.
These Crestwood Comets are pesky on the glass. Good no call by the official.
Downtown, Ryan Harder's feeling it in the third quarter. His second 3, he's got 8 already.
And we talked about it in the open. Comets coach Mark Atherton does not want any of the big 3 to have a huge game. If any one of these guys gets hot, has a game of maybe like 20 points or more, it could be a loss, first league loss for Crestwood.
Ryan Harder. Battle underneath, and it's going to go to the Tigers.
See what Tunkhannock runs here out under, and Spencer Lunger wants to talk it over. Good no call by the official. Drive and kick. Harder, wide open. Shot ready.
So Spencer Lunger, his 5th season, he had 3 in Mountain View. Let's see what Crestwood has done in their 8 games this season. There you see that opening loss to Dallas. Now, not only did they lose 58-50, they somehow had a COVID shutdown, Dallas and Crestwood did, for a couple weeks, and that's really put them behind a little bit where they have to make up the games now.
Yeah, they're in scramble mode as far as making up games between COVID and with weather. The good thing about this Crestwood club, a lot of seniors, they know Mark Atherton's system, so probably not as big of an impact as it was on Dallas.
Knocked out of bounds.
We'll see what Tunkhannock runs here. Spencer Lunger calling a timeout just before this inbound play. Let's see what he has drawn up.
Ryan Harder. Back out to Mako. He'll set up the offense. Harder comes around.
Got Jack Chilson posting up Petrosky.
But Ryan Harder has the hot hand.
And as you said, Bob, they want to continue to feed the hot hand.
And they are. He has 10 points in this quarter alone. 2-point advantage for the Tigers.
And we have ourselves one heck of a ball game.
They haven't led since 6-5. Back out to Tochak, and he's got nowhere to go, so wisely gives it back. Mako, and we're going to have a hoop in the arm.
Great find in transition to a cutting Mako. Absorbs the contact, able to finish, basket good. He's going to the line for a chance for a traditional three-point play.
So Nick Ruggieri back into the game, number 10 for Crestwood. Here's Shane Mako, his first opportunity from the free throw line, just a 40% shooter. It's no good, but a 4-point lead.
Crestwood trying to get Tunkhannock napping in transition off that free throw.
Petrosky rejected by Ben Chilson. Petrosky in the last game against Tunkhannock, 20 points. Tonight, well under that. He only has 6.
The Tiger bench really into the game. I know there's limited fans here, but you can really feel the intensity in this gym right now.
Nice job by Mike Zaleski anticipating that pass. Here's the block again.
And great timing going straight up by Ben Chilson. Did not hit down, straight up, perfect timing. And that really got Tunkhannock's bench into the game if they weren't in it already.
It was a kick not called. No call again. And we're gonna get a hold on, I believe, Petrosky and Mark Atherton talking to John Salunas.
Yeah, a little frustration foul there by Crestwood. We'll see right now, Crestwood extending its defense. Let's see if they look to maybe trap, get an easy hoop here before the end of the period.
Petrosky's second foul. Back up to Jack Chilson, 3-on-0.
And they got the turnover Mark Atherton wanted.
Well, he's the quarterback, not the receiver, so.
The Comets will play for one here. Look for possibly a high ball screen here at the top of the zone.
Mike Zaleski, no good, and that should do it. So Tunkhannock was down at the half, but they battled right back. They take a 4-point lead headed into the fourth quarter. Tunkhannock's come out of the locker room, outscored Crestwood 18-10 in that third quarter. A big loss yesterday to the coaching community. Well-known Forest City head coach Julius Przelski, one of the all-time bests in the area, passed away at age 94. And Billy Jones, you coached at Forest City. There you see what Coach Przelski, what did he mean to the community?
Coach Przelski, I mean, obviously his basketball resume, one of the best in the state. At one point was the all-time wins leader in the state of Pennsylvania. But he's in the community, he was just known as a great guy, a very humble man, a very giving man, someone who just would give you the shirt off his back. When you talk to him, it was never about his coaching exploits. It was about his family, his grandchildren, his children, his circle of friends. And if he did talk hoops, it was about, the pride he had for the kids that played for him. But 757 wins, coached the McDonald's in the McDonald's All-American game in 1993, coached the East team led by Jerry Stackhouse and Rasheed Wallace. And of course, if you spoke to him, he would never tell you that, and you would really have to pry it out of him. It was never about him. A tremendous loss for the basketball community. Passed away at the age of 94. The athletic director at Forest City, longtime educator, baseball coach. He pretty much did everything.
Back here in Tunkhannock, a 4-point lead, 30 seconds into this fourth quarter. And Tunkhannock has brought their A game tonight against the division-leading Crestwood Comets after really getting blown out by Hazleton the other night. Must have been a heck of a practice yesterday. Up, taken away. Great job by the Comets. Up quickly to Jake Zaleski, and we're within 2.
And there's that run and jump defense that we talked about, getting the trap there right at the timeline and getting the easy 2 in transition. Tunkhannock has to settle down here, be strong with the ball. They have to talk, too. If a secondary defender's coming to trap, they have to let the ball handler know a guy is coming.
This is what they had trouble with against the Cougars the other night when I was at that game.
Yeah, I think if Tunkhannock just maintains their patience, strong with the ball, get good quality shots, and if they can, attack the pressure. If you can get an easy basket on the back end of this, take it.
Vini back into the game for Crestwood, number 5. Into the corner to Harder, hot hand, that's blocked. Great block by Jake Zaleski.
A little bit of a force there by Harder. If you get a jump shot block, that's a good indicator that you forced it.
And a good job, senior leadership, calling a quick timeout because the trap came in the corner. That's not where you want it at.
Yeah, that's one of the worst parts. If you're playing against a trapping defense, the corners, the sidelines, and just inside the half-court line are some of the worst places you want to have the ball against a team that's going to trap. They call that the coffin corner for a reason, Bob.
So a back fitter timeout called by Crestwood. Not really anybody in foul trouble tonight. The referees have done a nice job letting them play.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they called what needed to be called, maintain good flow to the game, a good officiating crew, and it's what they're doing tonight. Called the necessary fouls. However, you know, let players make plays. The game is a better game with the 5 best from Crestwood playing against the 5 best from Tunkhannock, and the officials have done a great job with that so far.
No substitutions in the second half for Spencer Lunger's Tiger team. He's gone with the starters, cross court.
And he's sticking with that zone.
Vini left open.
Vini's got to get in the gaps of this thing. Kick out, find some open shooters.
Petrosky way downtown, in and out. Rebound Ryan Harder gets to Ben Chilson.
Great job by Harder to be strong with the ball, not get stripped there.
So the hot hand in the second half for Tunkhannock has been number 1, Ryan Harder. In the first half, it was this guy right there, Jack Chilson, number 1 in his class. Probably the smartest kid on the court, maybe. Nothing to take away from anybody else.
And Yusef might be going to MIT.
Talking about it, that's his goal, to go to MIT.
Bob, I'd have trouble spelling MIT if you spotted me the M and the T. This kid's number 1 in his class. Yeah, they got to travel there. Tunkhannock got a little bit of a break. I thought it was a player control foul, possibly going the other way. For Spencer Lunger, you'll definitely take the travel over a foul.
Crestwood now with the chance to either take the lead or tie it back up. Back out to Fiesel. He hit one of those in the first half. He can't hit this one.
That was a good look, too. Normally, he knocks that shot down. Tunkhannock got away with one there.
Great look and defense by Fiesel. He'll take it in, no foul, lays it up, and we are tied again.
And that's why Mark Atherton loves Paul Fiesel. Does a little bit of everything. Got a deflection and steal there. Finished against a bigger, lankier player. And we have a tie game here now in Tunkhannock. And there's Fiesel taking it to the rack.
Tunkhannock has to do a better job passing the ball.
Yeah.
They kind of just force it.
Yeah, this Crestwood run and jump defense, though, I mean, it's causing most people nightmares. What you want to do is if a trap is coming, you got to send somebody to the middle of the floor, get it to the middle of the floor, and then look to attack on the back end. If they can get the ball out of the trap and hit middle, Tunkhannock could have numbers down the other end where they can get easy hoops.
Feeney to the floor. That trap is becoming a pest for Tunkhannock, but a great job at Crestwood.
It is. If you're Tunkhannock, I'm sure they worked on this in practice yesterday. Just be patient. Get the ball out of the trap. Get it to the middle of the floor. Keep your composure. Basketball's a game of runs.
Looking for the trap again. They can't get it. Ryan Harder now will set it up at the top. He has 10 points in the second half. Back in the quarter for Ben Chilson. Oh, you got to make those. That's an open 3, right?
Yeah, and he caught it in rhythm. He was shot ready. Great find by Harder.
So the jump ball goes over to Crestwood, looking to make it 3 in a row this week and really win their 7th in a row since that opening loss to Dallas.
And that opening loss to Dallas, not really that bad of a loss. We saw Dallas last week, an excellent club who could be the favorite to win districts in Class 4A.
Petrosky He'll shoot from there. Another offensive board from Crestwood. This one, Mike Zaleski.
These guards are scrappy. They just sneak in there amongst the trees and we'll get an offensive rebound out of nowhere.
Petrosky again thinks about it, gives it up.
Bob, you and Doug Walsh had a classic on Tuesday between Riverside and Holy Cross. This has the potential to be the same type of ball game coming down to the end.
Under 4 to play, we are tied. Hopefully Bill Jones didn't jinx it. Yes, we have a great game here in Division I Wyoming Valley Conference. Inside. The smaller Mike Zaleski thought maybe. Timeout. Could be a classic here in Tunkhannock. We're tied at 37. 3:40 left in this game. We're almost 4.5 minutes into this fourth quarter. A little 4-0 run by Crestwood. Tunkhannock has not scored in the quarter, and we are tied at 37. Bob-eyed Mr. Billy Jones, courtside here, Wyoming County. And Billy just mentioned maybe a classic happening, but it's a great game. Last time it was a big win from Crestwood. Give a lot of credit to Tunkhannock tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're Spencer Lunger, this is how you drew it up. If they told you before the game, you'd be tied with 3:40 left in the game. Would you sign up for it? You'd sign up for it in a heartbeat.
So Tunkhannock has the ball. They were 15-8 a year ago. But like nothing but to get to the arena, maybe to play in a district final. First they got to get by Crestwood. And there's a foul. And Zaleski throws the ball away. Let's see if he gets a tee or not.
He might get a warning from Mr. Sanunis. Not a technical. Got to be careful there.
Well, that is Jake's 4th foul, though. He is the only one really in foul trouble.
And I think how Tunkhannock handles this pressure will determine who comes out of here with a win in the next 3.5 minutes.
Another long pass, no foul. They're going to let them play. Jake Zaleski underneath, no foul. Mark Atherton's jumping all over the place. We only have 5 fouls called here in the second half. 4 on Crestwood, just 1 on Tunkhannock. So we're well away from 1-1.
And the officials are letting them play. Like we talked about, they're making the necessary calls, but allowing players to make plays.
Good cut, back out.
Chilson's got to knock that down. That's another great look.
Yeah.
He was shot ready, in rhythm.
Well, he had 50, and since then, it's been tough to find baskets.
Yeah,
he just had 7 the other night.
Those shots up at Athens earlier in the week were going down.
Well, it was a great look by Vini, but couldn't finish Zaleski.
If you're Tunkhannock here, you want to get a good one, just like you did the last possession, even though it didn't go down.
Jack Chilson, boy, no one can find the basket in this quarter. Very low scoring game, which is a little surprising.
Especially with the pace Crestwood plays. You would think we'd be in the 40s or 50s.
Both teams gone cold. Just 4 points in this quarter.
And with both teams going cold, it advantage Tunkhannock. They want a slower pace. They want the score in the 30s. They wanted to control the tempo, make it a half-court game.
Timeout called by Spencer Lunger. We'll stay right here. 2:19 remaining in the game. And here's what Tunkhannock has coming up the rest of the way. They'll play Pittston area next week. They're going to play an out-of-conference game against Valley View, which is pretty good tune-up for the playoffs. Again, Lakeland, Wyoming Seminary, if they come back, and it end with Wyoming Valley West.
And I believe, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, Wyoming Seminary was undefeated going into their
shutdown. They're still 5-0.
Yeah, and I mean, that's another great tune-up going into district play. And again, in the 5A tournament, if you draw Tunkhannock and you have to come up here and play them, whether you play them here or on the road, it's a tough draw, but you have to come up here and play them with the shooters they have, the length they have, the size they have, it's going to be a long night. I would not want to face Tunkhannock in the 5A district playoff bracket.
So Crestwood beat Tunkhannock 74-47 the last time these two teams teams met. That's 100 points scored. We're at 64 here now, right? Or 74, excuse me.
And as I mentioned, if Spencer Lunger and his coaching staff were going to draw it up, you know, if we're going to be in a position to win at the end here, this is how you'd want it, in the 30s. See what they run here, baseline out of bounds, look possibly to get one of the Chilsons open or harder for a three, or possibly something on the inside.
Tunkhannock has not scored a basket in the quarter. Jack Chilson to the lane, no good. So Crestwood now maybe takes the air out of the ball a little bit.
I would think so. Maybe they're going to want to shorten the game. You know, a Mark Atherton club executes. They're well coached. They don't panic. They're definitely going to get a quality look here.
Well, it's a senior-oriented team that has played basketball since they were 6 years old.
Yeah, they've known each other since the Biddy days.
Yep. They haven't won a district title in a real long time, since 2009, I believe.
Now, the problem Tunkhannock is if they go out and play Crestwood on the perimeter, they're a smaller, much quicker team. They can blow by. So Tigers have to be really careful here on how they guard this.
90 seconds left in this one.
And over the years, I've been a proponent of Pennsylvania adopting the shot clock. This is one of those situations where please adopt the shot clock. It makes for a better game. But I don't blame the Crestwood coaching staff. Take advantage of the rules.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I'm a proponent of the shot clock, because if you're going to play in college, you're going to have a shot clock anyway, and it's kind of been the norm now around high schools. The downfall, they say, is they have to spend money and do it. Well, it's a one-time investment.
Exactly. And again, I don't blame Mark Atherton.
Oh, no.
You take advantage of the rules.
And Tunkhannock's content just to sit back in the zone, take a breather.
And don't be shocked here, Bob, if Crestwood does not take a timeout. I mean, this is a veteran club. They probably know what they're doing. This stuff has been rehearsed and practiced multiple times.
Okay, now we decided we're going to play tied at 37. Who's going to win this matchup here in Wyoming County? Good ball movement from Crestwood. Is that? And there is the timeout for Mark Atherton. 18 seconds on the clock.
You'll be anxious to see what they draw up here, Bob. Similar scenario very early in the year. Crestwood down one. They went with a high ball screen, a pick and pop play, and we talked about Paul Fiesel in our open knocking down the game-winning shot for a 1-point win down at Holy Redeemer. Look possibly for a high ball screen, a pick and pop play with Fiesel again.
Okay, what do the Comets have coming up? Well, they're going to sneak in a game coming up Valentine's Day. They're going to play a makeup game with Pittston area. They'll play Berwick again and end with 2 more games. There you see the end of the schedule, February 23rd against Wilkes-Barre, which could be for the division lead.
It very well could be. Right now, Crestwood undefeated in the division, but that might change over the next 18 seconds. We shall see.
So you mentioned who could get the ball. Also, I think something to watch for, offensive rebounds. Comets have done a fantastic job tonight getting second chances.
Exactly. I think if you're Crestwood, you're going to hold the ball and maybe go at about 8 seconds to give your club an opportunity to get an offensive rebound.
Just 4 points scored in this quarter, all by Crestwood. Tunkhannock doesn't have a field goal.
But they're still in a position to win. So if you're Tunkhannock, you got to see the glass half full.
Okay, here we go. 18 seconds in this showdown. Mike Zaleski going to hold it. Run it at 10. Here we go. And we get a foul. And Jack Chilson out front.
And they have plenty of more fouls to give, Bob. This, if they give more fouls, this very well could be going to overtime.
They could foul, what, 4 more times?
If you're Tunkhannock, you have to be careful. You want to make sure you make a play on the ball. It's not an
foul
intentional
again, right?
foul.
They did. There they call it.
And again,
6 seconds off the clock. Good strategy from Coach Lunger, quite frankly. Because they don't have to shoot. Well, a timeout. Stay right here, Mark Atherton. 30 seconds.
And again, you have multiple fouls to give. Definitely give one, but again, you're walking that fine line. You have to be careful. Make sure you're making a play on the ball. Make sure it's not in the act of shooting.
Well, we have 2 more regular season games coming up. Great girls game between Riverside and Dunmore in Division 3. And then we'll end with Prep and North Pocono, a good 4A, 5A matchup. That will be February 26th, and then we'll look into March to get a game or two in the BIAA playoffs.
And neither of those matchups, Riverside Dunmore girls and Scranton Prep North Pocono boys, I don't think they will disappoint. Must-see TV. 4 highly respected programs in the area.
Here we go. Foul out front by Mako. 2 seconds off the clock.
And this is stuff, special situations, teams try to work on every day in practice. Of course, with the COVID shutdown, some of that time limited, but both well-coached clubs here today, these are things they've worked on probably, you know, in this month of February.
Timeout, Tunkhannock. So we'll have the ball. Crestwood will underneath the basket, so maybe a little bit of opportunity to get the ball inside quick, but against those taller guys on the inside, it's going to be tough for Crestwood to get something off.
And plus, Tunkhannock still has 2 more fouls to give.
You just can't foul in the active shoot.
Exactly.
You got to watch where you foul then, right?
Exactly, and you have to be careful too. These Crestwood guards, the Zaleskis, the Petroskis, they can be crafty where they can maybe get you up in the air and draw a foul. You want to make a play on the ball when you foul, and you don't want to leave your feet.
So you got a score from our friend Doug Walsh. What was that?
Pittston area, I don't know if you want to call it an upset or not. I mean, there's been some craziness in Wyoming Valley Conference Division I basketball that they beat the Wilkes-Barre area Wolfpack. Great win for Coach Al Semenza and his Patriots. Just proves anything goes, especially in this season, which is cut short by COVID. We're seeing a lot of upsets that maybe we don't normally see in other years.
Okay,
A lot of parity.
Tunkhannock hasn't beaten Crestwood since 2013 when Billy was 10. Here we go. Shot, Petroski blocked, and we will go overtime here in the jungle.
That's a pretty good look. I mean, he was right in the middle of the zone. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better look with 4 seconds from your best player if you're Crestwood.
Oh, well, maybe we'll take a look at what Crestwood just did down the end. Their last second shot up and no good. So 4 minutes on the clock for this overtime. Our first one in a long time here on my TV.
And yeah, Petroski wide open there, right outside of the high post area. Decent look. I think he kind of panicked. If he caught him, was a little bit more composed. I mean, that was a very good look. If you're Mark Atherton and you drew that up, you have to be pleased with the execution by your team. Unfortunately, if you're Crestwood, the ball didn't go in. If you're Tunkhannock right now, you haven't scored in ages. If you're Spencer Lunger, you got to draw up a play to get a high-quality shot just to get the ball in the basket here to start the overtime.
So we haven't talked about 6A in a while. Scranton's been on a roll. They beat Abington the other night. They have Scranton Prep tomorrow. Williamsport's right there, of course, from District 4. The sub-regional Wilkes-Barre loses. So, that's going to be a very competitive tournament as well.
Yeah, and Bob, you saw Hazleton the other night against this Tunkhannock club. I mean, Hazleton really took it to the Tigers. If they're playing their best basketball towards the end of the year going into the district tournament, look out for the other teams in 6A.
Momentum here to Crestwood. They have the only points of the fourth quarter. Tunkhannock has missed some wide open shots, including Ben Chilson, a couple big threes. So looking for that. Really no one in foul trouble except for Jake Zaleski. He has 4 fouls. Both teams have 4 fouls. They go over into overtime.
Tunkhannock going with like a defensive tap alignment here. They do not want to give up an easy one to the Comets off the tip.
Ben Chilson will jump against Paul Fiesel. 3rd game in a row for Crestwood, and why not throw a little OT into the game? Marcus Vini controls it.
And like I said, if you're Tunkhannock, your next trip down, your first possession of overtime, you want to get the best look possible, get the ball into the basket, give your guys a boost in this extra session.
Both teams still have their starters in, which they have gone throughout this second half. Fiesel, in and out. Someone has put a cap on the basketball. It goes out of bounds, and it will go to Tunkhannock. So neither team really lighting it up here in the second half.
And as we talked about, Fiesel not afraid to take a shot in a big moment.
Here's Ryan Harder. He had 10 in the 3rd quarter. He came out with a hot hand in the second half. Jack Chilson had the hot hand in the first half.
Be interested to see what Tunkhannock runs here. Obviously, you want to get the ball into the hands and get a high-quality shot for one of your big three, Harder or the Chilsons.
Nobody really posting up inside. Finally, there goes Jack Chilson.
And he scored earlier on Fiesel in the post earlier in the game. Nice little jump hook.
Harder didn't want to post up the smaller Mike Zaleski.
Great patience here by Tunkhannock.
Jack Chilson thought about it. No foul. Fouls have been hard to come by tonight.
Yeah.
Jake Zaleski, he finds it.
I think Jack Chilson was a little bit surprised Zaleski was pulling the trigger there, just because the Comets, their last few possessions in overtime and at the end of regulation, they were incredibly methodical.
Viti with the pick. Up to Petrosky, and he's got the hoop and the harm. Ryan Petrosky running the floor.
Crestwood showing why they're the defending Division I champs in the Wyoming Valley Conference. Back against the wall. Huge three by one of the Zaleskis, and then a turnover here. Ryan Petrosky with the traditional three-point play. The layup, the contact, and the ball going in the hoop.
So the drought continues for Tunkhannock, and now it's been a 6-10 run, 10-0 run for Crestwood here from the fourth quarter on. And they suddenly have a 6-point lead. And Tunkhannock is
very rattled.
Yep, very rattled, just like they were the other night against Hazleton, Billy.
And they got a break there that Petrosky wasn't able to save that ball.
Yep, Coach Lunger says, I see it. He wants a 30-second timeout.
Tigers just want to keep their composure. Hey, 2:12, that's a lot of time. It's a two-possession game. What they run here, though, sideline out of bounds, they need to get a quality look just for the simple fact that they haven't scored in ages. But obviously, you know, Crestwood gets the ball back. They're gonna milk clock. And Petrosky unable to get to it, but as you would expect, Bob, laying it all out.
And Ryan headed to Bloomsburg to play football? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Bloomsburg University. I believe he signed his letter of intent.
Yep. Coach Sheptock down there. We're doing a nice job recruiting locally. Crestwood had a district championship season on the gridiron this year.
Mm-hmm. And I believe Paul Fiesel played a big role with that club. Never played football until this year and came out and had some big catches as a wideout.
Okay, if you're Tunkhannock now, the momentum on the side of Crestwood, how do you kind of slow that down?
You just got to get a quality possession. You don't need a three here. Get the best shot possible. It's a two-possession game. You don't need a three right now. If you can get something going to the rim, do it. And if you can get fouled, even better, because you can put points on the board.
Chilson giggled to the line for the conventional three-point play.
Just what the doctor ordered. Chilson, little spin move, absorbs the contact, finishes, and he's going to the line. Yeah, he got hacked multiple times there.
So a chance to cut it to three for Tunkhannock. You figure they might press if he makes it.
Great execution by the Tigers.
And he does. 16 for Jack Chilson. Back to a three-point game.
Crestwood here will run some clock. Again, Tunkhannock still has a foul to give. Whether they give it now, just to make sure that, you know, they can get Tunkhannock in the bonus later on in the overtime, we'll see.
Again, Crestwood not a very good free throw shooting as a team. Just 53% on the season.
Yeah, that's shocking with the amount of three-point shooters they have on this team. This is where Crestwood, though, is dangerous. They're so well coached. You know,
Yep.
a lineup heavy with seniors, they're not going to beat themselves.
Mark Atherton didn't like something. Now, if you're Spencer Lunger, to start fouling, let's win. They're going to make them win it from the foul line.
Yeah, I mean, they have to give a foul, I think, coming right out of this timeout just to make sure you have Crestwood in the bonus for the next foul.
So 1:19 left. Timeout by Crestwood. Both teams have 5 fouls.
I think if you're Tunkhannock right now, Crestwood will have the ball on the sideline. If you can maybe trap the first pass. If you're aggressive, so what, and you foul, you still have a foul to give. But roll the dice, get a trap, maybe get a turnover out of that trap. Of course, Crestwood, the clock is their front. They're going to look to burn clock. Obviously, they know that Tunkhannock is going to give a foul here. They need to be strong with the ball. Don't give it up. Be anxious to see here what Crestwood runs to get the ball in.
So here we go. Crestwood has the ball.
They're going to give a foul, I believe, right here.
And they do. Quick foul.
And again, Crestwood will get the ball in the exact same spot, sideline out of bounds. Again, you don't need to, you can get a good trap here and maybe get a turnover.
They're almost trying the foul, and they won't give it to them.
They had a great opportunity there to trap.
Not sure if Crestwood will actually try to shoot with a minute left in the game.
That ball almost went off Jake Zaleski's hands out of bounds. I think Mark Atherton probably...
There is the foul, and they will go to the line. So it will be Vini. He's 2 for 4 on the season.
Vini, not much of a scorer, but very heady basketball player. Does the things that Mark Atherton wants out of a point guard. Looking to make this a 2-possession game. But still plenty of time, even if he makes both or one of two.
So this is just 1-and-1 now. Back of the rim, no good. Here comes Tunkhannock. Now trailing by 3. You don't need a 3, though. You just need to get a basket.
If you can get to the rim and do it, and then just foul and continue to foul and shorten the game.
Well, how about they give it to the outside? Oh, I thought it was going to go in by Tochak. It did not. Full court press.
If you can get a trap here, do it. Still time.
Foul, Ryan Harder. His second, and that will put Petrosky on the line. Again, not a very good free throw shooter.
Yeah, missed 2 earlier in the game. Be anxious to see here if he has his legs. We're in overtime.
0 for 3, Billy, sorry, on the night.
0 for 3. We'll see if Petrosky has his legs here. Crestwood, this is their 3rd game in a row.
That one's no good, so 2 straight misses. Can Tunkhannock take advantage? Now they're down 3, 20 seconds left. Timeout called Tunkhannock. I don't know if Coach Lunger wanted that one. So it's a bath-fitter timeout. Now do you go for 3 and then foul? I mean, the way they're shooting foul shots, do you just try to get a 2 and a quick foul?
I think maybe if you can get something on a side-out play where you get something to the rim and can get an easy 2, absolutely. But obviously, if Crestwood defends this well and some time runs off the clock, you might not have enough time and you're forced to shoot the 3. Obviously, if you're Tunkhannock, you want the offense to run either through Ben Chilson, Jack Chilson, or Ryan Harder. One of the big 3 here has to have, the opportunity to tie this game up.
Well, right now the hot hand was Harder. Jack Chilson in the first half. Ben Chilson's had some open looks at the 3 in the second half, and they have not gone down for him.
And keep in mind, Bob, Crestwood has a foul to give, and I would not be shocked here if Mark Atherton will give one, especially with a 3-point lead. If you're going to pick your poison, I would give the foul, especially if Chilson, Harder, Ben Chilson, Harder, or Jack Chilson catch it behind the arc. You don't want them beating you or tying you with the 3-point shot.
Crestwood in the 4th and overtime, it's been all comments.
See if they give the foul here.
Tunkhannock has a chance. Jack Chilson way downtown, no good. Good offensive board. No foul call, 4 seconds. 2 seconds on the clock. Ryan Petrosky fouled. He'll go to the line to ice it. Oh, they have the look, maybe a little bit farther than they wanted for Jack Chilson.
And it's still 1-1, Bob. He has to make the first to make this a 2-possession game. If he misses the front end, he's leaving the window open for Tunkhannock.
That's a big one.
And he was 0 for the night from the free throw line. Makes the biggest free throw of the night, the front end of 101. Intentionally misses it.
And that will do it. Crestwood trailed in the fourth, but they use a big fourth quarter and overtime. They remain undefeated in the division, Billy. The final score, Crestwood 44, Tunkhannock 40. Final thoughts, Billy?
Crestwood showed why they're the defending champs in the Wyoming Valley Conference Division I. Backs against the wall here on the road in a tough environment to play. They found a way to win in overtime to get out of Tunkhannock and head back to Luzerne County with a W.
When I come back, we'll talk to our players of the game on the floor here in Tunkhannock.
You're watching Allied Services High School Hoops on MyTV WQMY. Sponsored by Hazelton Honda.
A big win from Crestwood in overtime. They pull it out, a 4-point victory over to Tunkhannock Tigers. Our players of the game joins us, Jake and Mike Zaleski. And Jake, you'll go first. Tougher game than you thought?
Yeah, we had to grind it out till the end. I mean, we played to our potential. We worked hard till the end, and I think we deserved the W.
You guys came out with a brilliant fourth quarter in overtime. You held Tunkhannock almost scoreless. Talk about the way your defense plays.
Our defense stepped up towards the end. We grinded it out. We boxed out. We got rebounds. We knew how to play to our potential.
Mike, talk to me about the rebounds, because you guys aren't the tallest team, especially against some of the trees that Tunkhannock has out there. But you guys talk about your relentless effort on the rebounding effort.
That's something coaches stress every practice. They tell us to box every game. They tell us to box out, and that's something we work on at practice. And then we just try our best, hit other guys, and go for boards.
You have to know coming up here that Tunkhannock was going to give it their best shot. They almost pulled it off. But you guys have been playing together for a long time. How much does that help?
I think that builds our chemistry a ton. We've been playing since we were in kindergarten, like in leagues and everything. I think that helped us win this game.
Yeah.
Jake, finally, what can it do a game like this, a win? You know, you pull it out. You had a lot of adversity. What can it do for you now the rest of the season?
It makes us think harder about how we should play. Obviously, we played hard till the end, but I think we could play better, and we just got to work hard in practice and fight to the district trip and move up forward.
Great game, guys. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Okay, Jake and Mike Zaleski are players of the game here after the Comets beat the Tigers 44-40. Our next game here on High School Hoops will be next Thursday. Right now, it's a girls' game in the Lackawanna League Division III. Two of the best in the area, maybe in the state, as Riverside will take on the Dunmore Lady Bucks. Will be on the air from Dunmore at 7:30. So that's going to wrap it up. A good one here in the Wyoming Valley Conference, a Division I battle. Crestwood remains undefeated in the division, but watch out for Tunkhannock down the stretch. They're going to play a lot of havoc with some teams in the district tournament. We want to thank everyone here at Tunkhannock for welcoming us in. We had a great time up here, and we're going to have a great time. Our team is going to do another great job next week. So for the entire Fox 56 Sports crew, for Billy Jones, this is Bob Ide saying so long from Wyoming County.
You're watching Allied Services High School Hoops on MyTV WQMY. Sponsored by Hazelton Honda.